let's go ahead and talk about what's it called again? Something that might be a little bit sensitive. Hopefully it isn't. But Grae, do you know the crazy book that people are trying to read to their kids and they're trying to put into these schools called Gender Queer?
I think I have an idea based on what I'm seeing on Twitter, but yeah, what the
Okay.
hell, man? It's insane.
It's pretty crazy, man. So I know it's they're basically putting it into school libraries, making it okay for little kids to read and stuff like that. For me, I wouldn't want them in school libraries. It's because like it's basically pornographic. It's basically like it's even though it's cartoon, it's pornographic. But this comes to us from Bounding in the Comics. It says here, genderqueer publisher refuses to answer questions about grooming children. So this is by Maya Kababe, and I believe it's about her life growing up. How it's about a story about her how she grew up really really poor, how she didn't have enough things, and she started experimenting stuff, and it's okay to do that, and it's fucking it's wild, man. I don't there's some stuff I can't even say, and if we actually show any of these images that's in this book on the stream, we will get banned. And the fact that this is okay in schools, that's the issue, right? Like I remember listening to people saying I remember on Tim Pool, he asked a couple of the folks there, should this book be allowed in the school library? And they said yes, it should be. And okay, then if we were to show any of the images on stream, it will get banned. Like your video will get taken down. Same thing with what's it called again? I remember some folks in Florida. Ron DeSantis, he doesn't want to have these books and a bunch of these other books in schools, which is great, right? Ban these, get rid of these books and stuff like that. I don't think they should be burned or anything like that, but they shouldn't have these in schools, and I agree. And one of the parents went to one of those like town halls, PTA meetings or whatever, and started reading the book. And they're like, please stop, please stop. Like those guys are like telling that person to stop. Like if you are telling the parents to stop reading this book, that means that this book shouldn't be allowed in schools. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, there's always other platforms for that if you really want to distribute those, but not in schools, man. Not for underage children.
Yeah, I 100% agree. See, Oni Press labels themselves as counterculture for the comic culture. Still, realistically, they push the same woke agenda as the rest of the mainstream establishment entertainment, but to a more extreme level. Okay. At San Diego Comic Con, the company had a Thursday panel outlining what their press has done over the last year, with mainly the books pushing LGBTQ content that borders on pornography. Publisher Hunter Goranson bragged about their woke content, stating in their panel that their book Genderqueer is one of the most banned books on the planet. Those claims were backed up by articles in the New York Times promoting the book, leading one to wonder how is a book the most banned when the entire mainstream media establishment is promotes it. Yeah, so imagine being so happy that, oh my god, oh, our book is most controversial, is most banned. But this leads to like book burning, banning and stuff like that. Like back in the day, they tried to get rid of Catcher in the Rye, right? I believe Catcher in the Rye was one of those books that led to one of the person reading it to kill John Lennon, if I'm not mistaken. Right? So they had to ban that book. Right? So I'm not sure if like it could be like one of those books like, oh, why is it so bad? Now I want to read it. Now I want to read it. What is it? It gets people more intrigued in what this book is. Right? So it's pretty wild, man. Have you read Catcher in the Rye?
Yeah, we were required to in high school.
Yeah,
But I hardly remember the story. Honestly, I need to read it again. But yeah, I know there's some pretty strong themes in that novel for sure.
yeah, true. Let's see. The gender queer book is advertised completely based on made up words involving fake genders. Uh, I think it's Oni Press's website lists the book by discussing author Maya Kababe's made up pronouns, which are e, m, and air.
What does
Sorry.
that even mean?
I I don't know. The description states Maya's intensely cathartic and autobiography charts Air journey to self identity, which includes the mortification and confusion of adolescent crushes, grappling with how to come out to the family and society, bonding with friends over erotic gay fan fiction, and facing the trauma and fundamental violations of pap smears. It continues, started as a way to explain to Air family, so fucking confusing, what it means to be non binary, asexual. Genderqueer is more than a personal story. It is a useful and touching guide on gender identity, what it means and how to think about it for advocates, friends, and humans everywhere. It is a useful and touching guide on gender identity, what it means and how to think about it for advocates, friends, and humans everywhere. Yeah. One of the things that Tim Pool, he actually read some of the stuff and talking about how Maya was actually, in a way, a cry for help because she grew up in a such a fucked up way where it's gonna sound graphic, but like she had to use the same female amenities for the entire month. The same thing. Is because they are too
Mm.
poor to buy it. So she was sent home because she started to smell. Right? It's so disturbing. And you want to advocate this for little kids. Right? It's such a sad story, but this is not a story or an autobiography for little kids at all. This is fucking disgusting. Right? Let's not include any of the other like gross stuff. Just talk about that specific scenario that I mentioned. That that is not something that a kid needs to read. Like especially like a 5-year-old, right? Maybe like a teenager, maybe like a 16-year-old, 17-year-old, but I think that this book should be made for adults only, right? And
Yeah.
how it's if you're an adult, do whatever the hell you want, but leave the kids out of it, especially stuff and trash like this book. Well, let's continue. I'm not gonna read all of that shit. At Comic Con, Goranson elaborated on what he meant by the book being banned. Public schools did not stock the graphic book on sexuality. As of May 3rd, according to PEN America, 56 school districts have stood up to the intentional propagandizing of children into destructive lifestyles. Cultural fights over the books, like Genderqueer, have been heating up since 2022 when Florida Governor Ron DeSantis signed an anti grooming bill prohibiting teachers from psychologically manipulating kids with inappropriate discussions on sexuality and gender identity. Extreme leftist activists have been pushing back against this, apparently trying to recruit children into their sex obsessed worlds. Now, speaking about leftists, we talked about last week where a lot of these, let's say, groomers and pedophilic acts are done by a lot of people who work at Disney World, which is crazy, right?
Yeah.
Because you are, like I said, you have readily accessible to kids because you work there really, really close to them. I guarantee you, a lot of the costume characters are pedos, are pedos. Sorry, whatever. How do you want to say it? Is because you get to hug kids for a living. Man, imagine that, dude. Imagine that. Let's see. The Oni Press stated that they enlisted the help of the Comic Book Legal Defense Fund to try to fight against the school districts that don't think it's public's place to force explicit content in front of children. Back in September 2022, the CBLDF celebrated a judge dismissing a lawsuit trying to label the book as obscene. In a blog post, the organization stated Tuesday marked a victory for Maya Kababe, an graphic novel, genderqueer, as a Virginia judge dismissed the lawsuit against it. The case that targeted both genderqueer and a court of missed and Fury by Sarah J. Maas would be labeled books obscene. Interim director Jeff Trexler, as a comic book legal defense fund initiate was co-counsel on the case with Seven Emirate, Emirate representing Kababe. So, yeah, this is the guy. Bounding the Comics confronted the publisher at San Diego Comic-Con, asking the publisher why they would advocate for placing sexually explicit content in front of children and advocating for a irreversible body mutilation of minors. Garrison answered our inquiry with, "What outlet are you from?" And upon hearing the name of our website, he replied, "No comment," and ran off. It appears to Oni Press that free speech only cuts one way. Yo, the fact that you said no comment and you leave the stage or you run off, that's saying something, man.
Mhm.
Man, like if you are actually like saying that this book should be fine or whatever, but I'm pretty sure the leftist media already considers Bounding in the Comics a right-wing Nazi political KKK, membership kind of place. But this is wild, man. This is saying a lot. Let's see. It's also clear that the press has no answer as to why they would want this content to be forced upon children, or how anyone could think such graphic content is appropriate for kids to read. What do you think about genderqueer? Leave a comment below and let us know. So, Grae, as a person who's outside of the US, who has a different vision of how the US is, how do you think, what do you think about this?
Yeah, it's not that the content is not allowed, just that it needs to be in places where it's more appropriate. Not definite schools is definitely the last place it needs to be. That's how I see it. And yeah, it should be in a bookstore adult section, or yeah, because it's very graphical and detailed, and it messes up the minds of children if they get to read that. Like, imagine if I got to read that some back when I was like 7 years old. It's gonna mess up my way of thinking, man. That's how I see it.
I agree.
Because like,
So, I'm going to go to, I just Googled it right now, and I want to see, not Googled it, I'm on Amazon right now. I'm going to share this tab. I'm not logged in, so you don't see anything. So as of right now, I'm inside genderqueer. I don't even want to look inside because we might get banned for it. I want to see, oh, right here. What does it say right here? Part of a gender as a memoir, okay, length 240 pages, language English, publisher Oni Press, publication date 2019. Oh, 18 years and up. Why is this in schools? Why? It's 18 years and up. Okay. Even in high school, they're not even 18 years and up.
yep.
Why is this in grade school? Why is this in like elementary libraries? It's like, of course that guy's gonna run away. Of course he is. Like, it's so telling. It's so crazy what's happening here. And may it be, look, I'm not one for book banning, all right? I'm not. Like, you can have whatever book, you could do whatever you want in the privacy of your own home. You could read. If you are a parent and you want to read this book to your kids at home, go for it. Thanks for checking out this segment of the Project Eggroll podcast. If you like what we do here, please like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and you will know next time when we go live. We do go live every Saturday at 8 p.m. Once again, we are just getting started. Tons of more video to come. Thanks, and we'll see you guys next time.